So a few of the things that we do that Siva mentioned, one is a salt flush. This one is intense. You're basically, imagine chugging a quart of salt water. We do that first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And that, well, for most people, and it's not always the case, some people do not feel triggered by it. And I'm just like, wow, like, because that is not my experience. But for many people, the vast majority, that will trigger a series of very full bowel movements. And when you're flushing in that way, you're really stripping out stuff. Like often people like see what's coming out and they're like, it kind of looks like a rope, or like, where did that come from? Like, and that's all just stuff that's been stuck, you know, in your intestines and the colon. So it really is just this deep release that happens. So, and all of these things that we're talking about now are completely optional. So I kind of give you recommendations of when I suggest doing them and what you can expect. And these, again, you know, depending on your lifestyle and your schedule, you fit them in where it makes sense. So another flush that we do is at the very end, we use castor oil, which is something traditionally used in Ayurveda for centuries. Again, it's a laxative, and for most people, it generally creates a very full elimination. And we generally do that at the end of the cleanse to just let everything go. And there's also things you can do with castor oil. Some of you might be more familiar with using castor oil externally. We can do castor oil packs on the liver, over the belly. So that's also something very complementary. I generally don't talk a lot about those in the cleanse program, but if you are familiar with doing castor oil packs, the cleanse is a great time just to get that extra support to the liver. Let's see what else. Ghee loading, Siva mentioned. So this is literally just like taking extra servings of ghee. Typically we would start, you know, with a tablespoon and like work our way up to a few tablespoons as the week goes on, typically often done in hot water. And you're literally just ingesting the ghee, and the ghee is nourishing the digestive tract. It's also just helping to heal like the other tissue systems of the body. So it's lubricating, it's moist. So especially for Vata people, that can be really beneficial. So it's like, imagine, many of you might be familiar with Abhyanga, where we oil the skin on the outside. Ghee loading is kind of like doing Abhyanga from the inside out. So getting the tissue, internal tissues of the digestive tract really just moisturized and feeling juicy. And then oil enemas, Basti, I see Siva writing there. So this is literally, you know, we're applying oil through an enema, and often the oil can be medicated, or there's some plain oils you might use. Yeah, and completely optional process. But the great thing about oil enemas, especially for people who are Vata by nature or are carrying a lot of excess Vata, is that you're applying the oil directly to the colon. And that's the seat in the body of Vata accumulation. So if you know that you have a lot of Vata, I just cannot overstress the value that you can get through the oil enemas.
Yeah, and you know, look, like everybody's freaked out about the oil enemas, including myself. And I would say, like, rule of thumb, it took me like 5 times before it was like not a big mental deal. And then if like a year goes by before you do it, it becomes a big mental deal again. So I think it's just like you have to kind of like just get past like, well, where do I put the bucket and how do I, and then you realize how easy it is, and it just takes a few minutes. And you know, once you get comfortable with all the logistics of it, then okay, by the 3rd time you're rocking and rolling, by the 5th time you're doing it like, you know, while you're texting. It's well, hopefully not, but you get the idea. It takes practice, I think. And you know, there really aren't very many contraindications to oil enema. The one big contraindication is when you have a lot of buildup in the tract. So one thing that is really great about Khichdi cleansing is the fact that you've just done all this clean out, and you've just done like either a salt flush or maybe a castor oil flush, and you've just cleaned everything out. So it's almost like coming out of the shower and then putting the warm oil on when your skin's all nice and clean and ready to receive it. And so Khichdi cleansing is probably the best time, I think, at the end of it to do oil. And about the salt flush, does the type of salt matter?
The type of salt absolutely matters. It needs to be like a sea salt. You don't want to use iodized salt or what we sometimes call table salt, because that will not trigger the correct reaction in the body. So I usually use like a pink Himalayan salt, and that works really well, or just like a standard sea salt. Um,
So, I mean, is there ever a time where you recommend iodized salt? I never use that for
no,
anything.
I mean, I grew up with that, but like I would never buy that.
Like, stay away from that blue bottle with the umbrella girl on it. Stay away.
Yeah, I mean, if you're eating a healthy diet and you're having variety of foods, like I've never in, my time on the planet met somebody with an iodine deficiency. It's pretty rare these days. So if you're eating a healthy diet and, getting nutrients from a variety of foods, it's highly unlikely that you're going to have an iodine deficiency. So yeah, just cut that out. Just go straight to the sea salt.